Hey YouTube, Awesome Rider here with my review of the Power Rangers Mixx and Morph figures, Wave 1 of the 2-packs. So, if you're not familiar with these type of things, a lot of different toy lines have been doing stuff like this. They're sort of, little, like, mix and matchable versions of their characters. Sometimes they're really accurate to what they look like, sometimes they're a little bit different, kind of like these. And you can sort of mash them up and create all kinds of crazy combinations. Lots of different lines have done it. I think Marvel does it with like mashers. I think TMNT has it. The bottom line is lots of people have been doing it, and Power Rangers has entered the fray. The first batches to come out are here, which is the 2-packs, which you have the Gold Ranger from Power Rangers Samurai and the Clawzord, the White Mighty Morphin Power Ranger and the White Tigerzord, and the Red Dino Charged Ranger and the Tyrannosaur or the T-Rex-Zord. And let's just take a very quick look at the packaging. They're all pretty much the same, but I just wanted to show you a couple things like that hitting the review station. Like here on the front, it shows you like a really crazy combination to sort of give you an idea of what you can do with these, you know, in terms of mix matching. Same thing on the back. See, there's just sort of another hybrid of a bunch of stuff you can do with it. And then it shows like the main functionality, which is what I'm going to be showing, which is you can sort of combine them. And the other ones that come in the wave, like I said, these are the 2-packs, and then the individual ones are here, and you have some trying to think of the word, repaints. So actually really cool repaints, which I'll probably touch on that more in their review. But yeah, I'm not going to show all the boxes because they're the same, but I just wanted to show you a couple pictures of these since I'm not going to be doing a bunch of crazy combinations. I know that's the point of the thing, but yeah. Alright, so in order to save just a smidge of space, because things can be kind of messy, I'm going to kind of go over them individually. So let's go ahead and start things off with the Gold Ranger from Samurai. Okay, so we're going to start things off here with good old Antonio. So obviously, as you've already seen, you get a Ranger and then you get their Zord. So for for him, you get coughing. For him, you get coughing. Sorry, I just Pokemon'd it. You get a little version of the Clawzord, which, on his own, he's pretty basic. There's really not a lot to him. You can see he's pretty plain. Looks kind of like a McDonald's toy. There's not much to him. He's just primarily orange with some gold. You can move his claws in and out and stuff like that. Obviously, this guy is fully, you know, compatible with all this. You got all these little knobs here, which are essentially like the version of Zord Builder ports. They're everywhere. You can move his claws a little bit, you can move these, but just in his transform mode, his Zord mode, he doesn't really do much. But obviously, you can, you know, customize him pretty much any way you want. But yeah, just basic on its own, it's pretty boring. And these two, they're not showing it right now, but getting these together is really annoying because every time you try to bend it, they pop open. And then you have the figure here, which it looks kind of like a little play schooly figure. I don't think the Gold Ranger is one of the stronger ones in terms of stylized, but yet again, it's not the most spectacularly painted, but it's not really that bad either. Like they even got the white trim on the helmet, but everything else is pretty basic, but it really gets the job done for what the figure needs to be. Like getting these, I obviously did not expect them to be these like amazingly painted, detailed figures. Obviously, you also have things like these little ports here for the transforming, which I know people aren't gonna like, but I think going into it, you have to know this isn't going to be, you know, the Gold Ranger figure that goes into standard display or a regular figure. There's going to be things like that, so I can't really put that as a negative because that's the way it's supposed to be. There's ports everywhere. That's the way it should be for the compatibility. The sort of neat different thing about him is he's got these cool little sabers here that look, except they're on the wrong side, but they're kind of like the hidden blades from Assassin's Creed if they're underneath here. But so there's kind of neat stuff like that. Because of the little like ball joints, he actually has a fair amount of articulation, so you can actually get this pretty solid range of movement here on his arms, bending here. You can actually get him in some pretty neat little poses. You can even swivel here, so it's actually pretty well articulated. So yeah, it's not like the most terrible thing in the world, but it's not amazing or anything. And now the thing here is that you can combine them, which is kind of neat. And to do that, you pretty much just disassemble him all over the place. That's why I wanted to separate all the figures, because otherwise I would just have pieces like everywhere. And it's funny, some of them are like really sticky, like they'll stick in there really good, she said, and some of them have a hard time pulling off. But God, that's really just dirty when I'm thinking about it. So yeah, pull all this apart. You just completely destroy the poor dude. Yeah, some of them are stickier and some of them are a little looser, and some of them like when I'm trying to find a good example, when you pop them on, they'll pop right out and like snap, and then some of them you have to do that thing where you like crank it, so just be aware of that. Let's see, what are we going to do with him? We're going to pull off his little fins here, which of course, gave me trouble all the time with these staying together up until I do the review, and then they're not wanting to be a good example for me. So you can see here we have the main Megazord body. You know, just twist this a little around here. Oh my god, there's the helmet. Helmet revealed. Okay, and then you're going to want to take these off. Come on. There we go. And we're going to replace them with these arms. There we go. Where's the other one? See, there's just pieces everywhere. This thing is just... It's like a Megazord review, except you're like just completely cannibalizing the whole thing. Okay, then you can put the claws back on. Boom. Where's the other one? And boom. Alright, we're going to lie him down just for a second. So we're going to be taking these, and we're going to put... I think this is the right... Is this the right way? Yeah, there we go. Okay, I had to get it right. But these little tail pieces are now going to become his feet. And where's the other one? Same deal here. And then just attach the whole thing in the chest. There you go. And he's going to kind of... Still, he's kind of off balance. Now, the only other thing we have to do is take this piece here and try to remember which way we want them to face. I think, like, the back of the box, I think, shows them going like this. But it seems wrong to me. But I'm going to put it on there like this, and if I get it wrong, I apologize. But I get stuff wrong all the time. Come on. Okay, the other... Whoops, not this one. You could. I mean, this is a mix and match thing. You can do whatever you want. But for the purpose of this review, we're just doing the main combinations. And this is annoying. I probably should have done this part first. Oh, I almost said close enough, and then it didn't do anything. Okay, so there you primarily have it. So by combining the Gold Ranger with parts of the Clawzord, you get the Claw Armor Megazord. Wait, no, Claw Armor Megazord is the complete combined mode. But the Claw Megazord, or Clawzord Battle Mord, or whatever. Mord? It's a Battle Mord, guys. Get used to it. But so that's pretty interesting, I think. And I actually honestly think it doesn't look too bad. Yes, it looks a little funny, a little stylized in a manner. Basically painted, it can look a little bit Happy Meal preschoolish, I guess. But I don't know. This is like going to be the review of accents, I can tell. But I kind of dig it. I think it's kind of neat. It actually kind of like the Ranger figure. It does present some articulation. You get essentially the same articulation here, and you can move his claws around and be like, the claw and stuff. So it's overall not bad. Part of me wishes that, like... It's kind of conflicting. Part of me wishes that he just wouldn't faceplant, because it's super embarrassing. But that somehow the Clawzord came with enough pieces to make the Megazord on its own, so that you're not just left with all these random pieces. I mean, I know you can do a mix and match line, but you can't necessarily make anything coherent out of this. And if you just buy the one, then you're just kind of stuck with this. But I totally get that the whole point of the line is the mix match to make the Megazord. But yeah, overall, this really isn't bad. I think it's actually kind of neat in a way. Alright, now let's go ahead and we'll move on to the White Mighty Morphin Ranger. Alright, now here we have good old Tommy. So you obviously have the Ranger and the White Tigerzord. The White Tigerzord I think looks a little bit better than the Clawzord in terms of just being on his own. Still pretty basic, still kind of on that slightly Happy Meal. I hate to use that Happy Meal-ish term, and I'm trying to like convey that it doesn't look quite as normal as a regular figure or whatever of this type, but this honestly isn't that bad. I think it's super awkward that the helmet is like sitting here in this particular position, but yeah, on his own, not bad. Just like the other one, you've got ports and stuff everywhere for transforming, and obviously when you disassemble it, you'll see it even more, and stuff like that, and you do have some articulation and movement possibilities with them as well. And this is obviously going to be the sword. Spoiler alert. Then you have the White Ranger figure here, which I'm not going to really bother going over. It has the same articulation options as Gold, which I just showed. Personally, I think he's the coolest individual Ranger. There's actually principally not too much done with him, but he does have these cool Wolverine claws, which is really neat, and like Wolverine feet claws. But like I said, it's a really subtle thing, but it's actually kind of neat. I don't know. I just think it looks cool. The figure's pretty basic. It essentially, like gold, gets the job done. Nothing too spectacular, but you know, these could have been worse. I mean, whenever I look at the paint, I have like a scale from like, you got Figuarts at the top, and then you have like the Power Rangers 5-inch figures, and then these guys land right here, and then way down here is like the bike figures. So they're definitely better than the bike figures. I think that they have just enough paint to get the job done, and like I said, I think the White Ranger's Ranger mode out of the 3 of these sets is probably the coolest just for the claws, and I think it's one of those stylized features which I just kind of like it for that. Alright, to transform it, it's just like, whatchamacallit, just like a gold. They're all like that, where you essentially have to cannibalize them. So to get them ready, you're just going to sort of pull them apart. I think we need these hands. We're not going to need his feet. Sorry, bro. We're going to need his chest, and I don't think the whole... I mean, we're going to need his waist. We don't need the whole part of his chest. So I think that's all we need from him that I can remember. We might need to change it around later. So for this, we're just going to kind of separate them. We'll take the helmet, set it aside. These pieces here pulls out. In this single review, you actually get to see this transformation more. It's a little bit more in depth. I think that the White Ranger, the White Tiger, is the most complex. I mean, it's not like it's a huge intellectual thing to get this together, but I think it is the most complex transformation-wise. Alright, so you got the tiger body here. Just twist these around here, and you'll see these little ports, and that's where you're going to be putting the hands. Like I said, you'll see the two man-to-tiger transformation in the single review, and both ways I think it has the most, I'll say it again, like the third time I said it, but the most complex transformation of the 3, at least that I found. So there you have that set up. Obviously, the helmet's going to go on top. So you got that ready. Where is his torso? Here we are. Torso. And the camera's going all wonky because I was shaking. I was like, oh god, I'm shaking. I don't know. That was me. Impression of me shaking. I go, oh god, I'm shaking. Okay, there we go. Okay, so the reason I say it's most complex is A, because of how you put these together when you put it in the tiger, but then the way these come out, it's pretty simple. You just fold them around like that. To get them to be feet. Where's the other one? Here we are. Just, you know, lift it up and fold it around, and now they'll be feet. But, you know, when you put them together, it's just kind of an interesting thing. And then, like, looping the sword through it. Whoops. There we go. So now you have these little pegs here. Put them on. There you go. Little peg there. There we go. I think this is like the first time you're actually hearing a snap from these. And there you have him in his Megazord mode. And you can also have him holding the sword, I guess, if you want, and being super redundant by having sword and Wolverine claws. You know, you can do it, but I'm not even... There you go. Look, I have sword and a claws. I'm Kamen Rider O's. But you can do that if you want. But the Tigerzord here, pretty basic. Or the Tigerzord Warrior mode, I guess. Pretty basic. It's kind of neat looking, though. I really like the repaint better, but it's essentially like the White Tigerzord Warrior mode with blurry cam, there you go, with claws. So it's nothing too spectacular, but the point of these is to mix and match, where I think the fun comes in. But overall, I don't think this guy looks that bad just on his own, if you're just doing shelf pieces like that. But yeah, the whole point of these is to mix and match. I think in terms of individuality, the single ones are actually going to be a bit neater just because they have some sort of neat repaints. Alright, so now let's head on over to Rexy and Tyler. Alright, here we have good old Rexy and Tyler, obviously Dino Charged Red Ranger and the T-Rex Zord. Out of the 3 animals, or Zords, animals, I think that the T-Rex one is my favorite. While the White Ranger's regular Ranger mode is my favorite, I think the T-Rex is my favorite. I just think it's got a lot of personality. As you can see here, obviously I feel like you kind of have to move his head up because otherwise you see the helmet, but still, the dude just has got lots of style. Rexy's got a lot of style, and I don't know, you do have the ports everywhere. You know, this looks like he's got a giant throat tumor. He's got the world's danglingest Adam's apple. That was a weird sentence. But you do have all these ports everywhere. and obviously you're going to have more, but like I said in the previous ones, that is the point, so I'm not really going to put that as a con. But you do have like articulation in various places. You got it his legs, his little arms, you can move his head actually, which is really neat. I just think that of the three, in terms of if you're displaying them or whatever individual mode, this one has the most personality and is probably my favorite of the three by their Zord modes. Now he's probably my least favorite of the three in regular mode, just because he's kind of the generic clear-coated or clear-painted version of the Red Ranger figure. There's not quite as much for me here to differentiate him from like the other ones. Like, I mean, Gold Ranger just had the blades and White Ranger had the tiger claws. But this guy's just kind of a weirdly, oddly proportion shaped version of the Red Ranger with a little extra spikes, maybe, but that's just kind of the Dino armor mode, but not. But yeah, I'm just not a huge fan of the way it looks. It just kind of looks odd and lanky, especially between the other three. He does come with a really nice, like nice and large version of the combined mode of the Morpher and the blade. But you do have this giant knob here. It looks like you load knobs into it. That sounded weird. But there's a port there's a port there, so that can be a part of the fun if you want it to. But yeah, least favorite of the three individuals, but most favorite of the Zords. Okay, so now to transform it, we are essentially going to be doing the same things we were doing before and disassembling him. So we'll take off of his legs. Come on, man, just let the legs go. You're going to get new, cool dinosaur legs. There we go. So take these off and just keep pulling. That's probably sounded dirtier than I intended it to. Take these off. There we go. I think these are the only pieces. We're going to need the arms here, which I just took, and we're going to need his torso. And then I think that's all we need. We seem to just always be getting rid of the main like headpiece and legs. Okay, for him, take his legs off. And we're going to take the little arms off of the sides here. And there we go. Oh, sorry about that. These are really tough. Okay, and then you can just kind of store them on the back if you want. I don't remember if there's like an official one to plug it in, but I just plug it in wherever. Because I'm a rebel like that. I'm pretty badass just plugging dinosaur arms in where I want. Okay, so now we're going to plug in his torso. And then he's going to get dinosaur legs here. There we go. Where's the other one? Dinosaur legs. Boom, dinosaur legged. Now you have the headless Dino Charge Megazord. And then place the little arms on here and knock his head off. We wanted to do that anyway, so I was thinking ahead. You're going to want to remove the head there. Thinking ahead. Get it? Classic. Alright, there you go. And then take that head that just fell off, and boom, you have the Dino Charge Megazord, except it's like Dino Charge Megazord, like super all red, no pink or Blue Ranger Zords to be found. So overall, yet again, I don't think this is too bad. Just on its own, you can close this obviously, it actually looks kind of cooler open. But, like I mentioned several times before, this is the millionth time mentioning it, not too spectacular paint details, but honestly I think it's pretty neat looking. It is kind of a unique thing. It's kind of got almost a stylized touch to it. I think it's interesting out of these three sets, like both Gold Ranger and White Ranger had Zords that were one Zord that became a Megazord, but his wasn't. I mean, he primarily makes it up. Let's face it, Rexy pulls most of the work in the formation, but it's interesting that they made him his own thing. But yeah, I think they're kind of neat. They're nothing special to write home about, and if you can deal with the knobs and stuff, there's obviously a lot of fun to be had in terms of the mix and matching. But also, just on their own, they're just kind of these neat little stylized versions if you can get past some of the knobs and stuff. But as I mentioned, this is probably the 3rd or 15th time mentioning it. I'm not going to count that as a negative because that's the way it's supposed to be. If this was like a 5-inch Dino Charge Megazord figure and these things were everywhere for no reason, I'd be like, alright, what the hell? But that's the way it's supposed to be. Alright, now let's go ahead and move on to the final verdict. Alright, so that's about it for the review. So I actually ended up liking these a lot more than I thought I would. I really can't recommend them necessarily for collectors in terms if you want something really accurate and not messy. But for kids, I think it's a really fun line. I think this year's Power Rangers line in particular has a lot of different cool, fun, creative things to do. So for kids, I think it's really fun. And for collectors or older people like me, I think it's like I'm 90. For them people like me, they kind of like sort of different things. I can also recommend them. They're not really that bad. I mean, they're not like the most amazingly detailed painted, but they actually don't look that bad. And especially, I'll get into more in the individual ones. I think some of the unique sort of stylized approaches are kind of unique. So yeah, I can recommend them for kids or people that like unique things, but they're not a must for collectors. But anyway, that's about it. Until next time, make sure you check it out. I don't know why I have all these accents. Until next time, make sure you check out the crazy podcast at writersrangersrambles.com. And of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, it's Awesome Writer, signing out.